Welcome to Seen It Here, where you come for all of your media needs. My name is Ray.
It's your boy, Nicky Tay.
And today we are going over the worst 10 movies of 2019.
Yeah, honestly, these are the films I would not see if I did movie reviews. Like, a lot of these I knew were going to be bad, but I still, we toughed it out because movies that week sucked. And we went to go see the best available, which was still pretty bad, unfortunately. So, hope you enjoy the list because these movies you won't.
10.
Number 10 on the list is The Prodigy, and it's going to be a lot of movies where you go, what is that? The Prodigy was basically kind of like the setup like The Omen, right? It's an evil kid who is evil, and he's doing evil stuff. I mean, how would you want me to say without spoiling it? Because I know you probably haven't seen it.
And you shouldn't.
And you shouldn't, based on this list. It's just really lackluster. And movie's so bad, I honestly forgot a lot of it, but I can remember just being underwhelmed in the scares and wanting the boy to be a bit smarter and methodical. I wanted him to be like the Home Alone of evil, and he didn't give me any of that. He gave me lackluster kills and mild creativity. So
this movie was bad. It's just no shortchanging it. This movie was bad, and it done nothing for the horror genre. Movies like this is why I think horror movies get a bad rap, because we get movies that really don't fulfill any of the niches or niches that we want in horror movies.
9.
Number 9 is The Curse of La Llorona. This one, oh my God. You thought The Nun was bad. Well, welcome to The Curse of La Llorona.
They both are bad.
This takes the, well, no, I don't know. They both are awful. Let me agree with that. This is about Spanish folklore and the curse, and if you look at her in the mirror while you're saying Bloody Mary 3 times, Candyman and kill. I don't know. It was weird. The scares were cheesy. A lot of jump scares. A ton of jump scares. So many jump scares that if you are a really jumpy person, you just like, that's the whole movie. You ain't even jumping. You just up. Like, yeah! Because they just come in. And it ruins the whole feel of the movie. Very, very bad movie.
This movie was bad. There's just not much more to be said about it. It was bad. But this is one of those movies that we actually probably would have watched, even if we didn't watch movies, even if we wasn't reviewing movies, because we like the Conjuring series. But movies like this that make it hard to like the Conjuring series. They have at least 3 bad movies out of 6, maybe 7 movies.
Oh, they got a lot of movies now.
So they're almost just as good as they are bad. And this is one of those movies that add to their negative listing.
8.
For our 8th worst movie of the year, we have to give it to Abominable. This movie was bad. It's just really no other way of saying it. Like, I know you want me to say something different, but I can't. I don't like to see children's movies be bad. I really don't, because I enjoyed them as a child, and I want kids to enjoy movies like this. And kids might enjoy them. I said kids might enjoy this movie, but adults definitely don't. This movie has so many problems. And I would say one of the problems was the writing. I know you don't think that children's movies need to be written real, because you say, oh, just kids going to watch them. No, you still have to make them good enough. And I think this movie falls a lot far from the mark of being a movie that is acceptable for a kid.
Yeah, DreamWorks has always kind of been in the shadow of Disney. Let's just put that out there. But with movies like How to Train Your Dragon, you kind of think and Shrek. Let's not forget the big one, Shrek. You think okay, sometimes they will just hit. And with a random character, interesting new story, you think, Abominable, this could be another hit. And it is not. It is a very slow-paced adventure with characters that you really never grow to care about.
That's true.
I'm trying to recall the movie. I can picture a lot of scenes, but nothing really stands out to say this was the scene that no, it was all very mild, and maybe kids like it, but it's not going to be one that I hope any kid says it's their favorite movie. I will be highly surprised and highly questioning the other movies that kid has been watching.
7.
Number 7 is Annabelle Comes Home, which is The third movie, it's the sequel to the prequel to the first one that was made. Very confusing. But they realized after the prequel, which was amazing by the way, they said, hey, let's keep building on Annabelle and also open the menagerie of paranormal stuff that is included in the Conjuring universe. And all of that went terribly wrong. I swear, I have never seen a movie fall flat that had so many good ideas. Like, the Warren's house literally has the room with every demonic item or thing ever. And like, when you're first introduced to it in The Conjuring, I believe, it's like, oh my God, like, I want to know about everything in it. And Annabelle Comes Home is the movie that gives you that. And it's like, yeah, let's just put everything back in his room and leave, because this is awful. Not scary. It is awful. And I'm so disappointed. This is one of the most disappointing movies on this list, just based on the potential alone. The execution was god awful, but the potential here was enormous. And here, another Conjuring universe thinker makes the list. Go 2019.
I think I gotta really say one thing about this movie.
Yeah, let's hear it.
This movie was bad. This movie was bad. And it's crazy because before we even started doing this list, I forgot this movie even came out this year.
How could you? How could you remember now? Oh my God, just thinking about all the characters that they introduced in the film. And it's like, oh, that would be great for another movie. But I know what I'm getting right now. I don't want it. I just want you to stop all of this you're doing.
They trying to build up this universe with all these monsters and creatures and from the Conjuring universe. And outside of the Conjuring films, let's just be honest. They only have one, for me. They only have one good movie outside of the Conjuring films.
We're not counting Insidious films.
They didn't make those.
I'm just making sure.
No.
I never can remember how they go.
They got all the Conjurings, they got all the Annabelle, they got the Nun and La Llorona.
You're right.
All those films.
Out of the Conjuring specific universe.
Yeah.
Not James Wan.
Not James Wan.
Yeah.
Just the Conjuring.
Yeah.
Yeah, they only have Annabelle.
Yeah.
And then the prequel.
And the Nun.
No, I'm talking about, the Nun wasn't good. We're talking about good movies. They got all the Conjurings and that one Annabelle movie, the prequel. That's it.
I got you.
All the other ones were bad. All the other ones were bad.
Yeah.
And I was going to point that out that I'm going to see the next Conjuring. I'm excited for that. But they need to stop with the sequels. Even though the Crooked Man sounds like it's going to be a good idea because he was so scary.
Well, we saw the Nun. We saw the Nun. And oh my God, I still want to be so excited for that movie, but I just can't.
6.
For number 6, a reboot that we did not want, Hellboy. On our top 10 list, we had a reboot we wanted. And on our worst 10 list, we had a movie sequel we didn't want. And for all of the things that can be said about this movie, it was bad. It's just really just that simple. Like, this movie was just bad. He didn't look like Hellboy. We didn't want him to be Hellboy. And the script was trash. And I actually watched a really, really good comparison video with this movie and The Avengers. I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of the comparisons are there. A lot of them. More than what you would think. In this movie, of course, there is no Avengers. There's no Avengers Endgame at all. No Avengers Endgame at all. But the fact that it has some sort of parallels made it interesting to begin with, but it fell flat on its face because it's nothing like Avengers Endgame, and that's what made this movie stink even worse.
Another movie I was extremely disappointed on.
Actually,
yeah, absolutely, because I like the Hellboy character. The first 2 films I thought were fantastic. Even though the Golden Army isn't as good as the first one, I still enjoyed it a lot. And to come in with this, and you just dash any hopes of doing another story. Like, Hellboy will now go on the shelves for a few years, and hopefully this means that we can get a Spawn movie. It's like let's change out the Dark Horse comics. Let's get the Spawn movie that I've been waiting on. So thank you for that.
5.
Number 5 is Replicas, and in the same year that Keanu Reeves gave us a really good John Wick film, he also gave us a bad movie about robots and cloning. Replicas was god awful. I remember you really wanted to go see this movie, and I told you it was going to be bad. And we had another movie that we could have gone and saw that week, but we saw Replicas, and now look at it. It made the top 10 worst, worst of 2019. Keanu Reeves, this is exactly why people say you can't act. This movie right here. You want to go back and understand why you get so much slack? Watch Replicas.
as much as I wanted to see this movie, Replicas, I did. I really wanted to see this movie. I did. I wanted to see it.
I know you did. I remember it.
But it can't be much that can be said about this movie.
No.
This movie was bad. It was just bad.
It's never not funny.
And I wanted it to be so good. You know I did. I was so excited to see this movie.
I saw the trailers. I knew what I was doing.
Keanu Reeves did what Keanu Reeves does best. He gave us another poor performance.
It's not even that it's a poor performance. He gave us his performance.
Yeah.
And like, if the movie's not...
I'll take it back. I apologize, Keanu Reeves. You did not give us a poor performance. You gave us your normal self. And the director should have known to not cast you for a movie where you have to show emotion.
Yeah.
And that is the director's fault. It's not yours. I apologize. This movie was bad for those reasons alone. No need to say nothing else about it.
4.
For the 4th worst movie of this year, I sadly have to give it to a black film. I do not like to down black films, but when something is bad, something is bad. And we can agree this was bad. What Men Want. Men do not want this movie. Women may want this movie. Am I going to say they don't?
No.
You don't think no women
You
want?
should not. This is not... What Men wants tries to build unrealistic expectations of what men actually want.
Yeah, well, I think women want to see that.
And as two men, we can tell you, if this is what you're going to base your assumptions on, don't do it. Don't go see this movie thinking you're going to learn something.
No, you won't. You won't. The one thing that you will learn about this film is that it was bad. This was another stinker of the year. This was a bad movie. As much as we expected it to be bad, it was just as, maybe even worse than what we expected.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Taraji, this film, you know, wasn't it. What Men Want was awful. It was awful. I cannot stress it enough. This is one that, Taraji, you want to forget about. Just forget about it, girl.
3.
Number 3 is a god-awful film. Stuber. Yeah, it was about the guy who was an Uber driver who partnered up with a cop to take down some criminals. Like I said in the review, that premise alone sounds god-awful. So it has to be exceptionally funny for this movie to work. It was not funny. It was not funny. I'm laughing now talking about it as one of the worst films of the year more than I did actually watching the film. It's so bad. This is like real laughter too. I ain't making this up. This movie is so bad. I'm just thinking about all the bad jokes and all the times where the entire theater was absolutely quiet every time they said a joke. Nobody laughed. Not one laugh.
You stupid.
Not one laugh for this bad movie. That's just a lot.
I would just have to say that.
Nobody could even laugh at the people.
You stupid. I would have to say that Dave Bautista probably could have got 2 bad movies this year. We didn't get to see his other one, but I think
What was the other one?
the one where
with the little girl.
We didn't get to see that movie, but I think it might have cracked this list too. The only reason why we seen this movie is because we didn't have anything else to see that week. I have to be honest.
It was a slow week.
It was a very slow week, and we pretty much got what we expected from this movie. It was bad.
I knew it was coming.
It was bad. It was bad. It was a bad movie for all the things that you said, and I'm not gonna speak more into it. Wrestlers tend not to make good movies outside of Dwayne Johnson, and I think John Cena might have one with the Patriot, but outside of those movies, they're not really good.
2.
For our second worst movie of the year, I will have to say Proud Mary, right? Proud Mary, wrong year. Miss Bala is the second worst movie ever. Because they are the same. They are one and the same. They are 2 movies where they try too hard to make these women be amazing. Just let them be amazing on their own. Women can do it without having these clunky, terrible scripts trying to big them up in ways that they don't need to be bigged up. This movie was like Traffic, but not really nowhere near as good, right? Like
not even close.
We kind of got in that same vein, but not even what we wanted. This movie was just like every other movie on this list.
Yeah, like
it was bad, Nick. Let me get to it. It was bad. Yeah. I have to let it be known to the people. This movie was bad.
It's bad. I don't want to talk more about this movie. They took a plot, this woman who now becomes like a gun-wielding badass by the end of the movie. Didn't make any sense. It all kind of fall apart. at the first 10 minutes.
1.
The worst movie of 2019 is none other than a Madea family funeral. Easily one of the worst films I've seen in my entire life. I did not enjoy one thing about this film. And like, you can go back and watch my rant in the review. I pretty much said everything I needed to say there. This movie is not good. I'm embarrassed to have seen this movie. I'm embarrassed that this movie is even made as an African American man. Only positive I can say regarding this movie is that Tyler Perry is still giving people work. Congrats on your check. Because that's all you collected, you assholes. You collected a check and you made a bad movie. And I'm not satisfied.
I'll have to say this, right? I really do gotta say one thing about Tyler Perry, right? And I mean, all jokes aside,
It's the worst movie of the year.
This movie is the worst movie of the year. Madea funeral.
And because it's
the death of Madea.
And because this movie is.
It's bad. This movie is.
No, do it like you was doing it before.
It's bad. I know it's bad.
Yeah. Say it one more time.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. But I've heard something about Tyler Perry that I want to share in this last little section of this video, right? If all of these Madea films, as much as I don't like most of them, not all of them, as much as I don't like most of the Madea films, and I've always thought that they were a little bit coonery, a little bit coonish, just a little bit coonish, and I didn't like the light that it portrayed black people, right? All that I said that's out there. I feel like that. But if all of this stuff that he has done, Tyler Perry has done, movie-wise, is worth him building one of the biggest studios and the first black studio, it was all worth it. All of these bad movies, in my opinion, was worth it. If Tyler Perry continued to give black people work, continue to break barriers down for black people, and continue to build studios and do other ventures in the movie sphere, I have to amend all of the Madea movies in the past. I do. This is my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is my personal opinion. I have to amend it because the work that you're doing, brother, is God's work. Maybe not the movies. Maybe not the movies.
No, definitely not the movies.
Most of them are bad for me. I have to commend you for what you have done. You have put black people and yourself on the map, and you have put the world on notice that we can build our own studio and we will support our own projects. And I gotta thank you for that. But this movie was bad. Just to throw that out there. I'm not bigging up this movie. This movie was bad, but I will amend all Tyler projects from here going forward.
Yeah, I won't. I don't forgive you for any of the bad movies that you put out. Stick to plays. Keep doing what you're doing for black folks. That's it. That's all I can say. That completes the worst films of 2019's list. Obviously, these are films that you don't want to see if you haven't seen them. That goes without saying. But if you were looking for laughs, you can go back and check our reviews on most of these films, particularly the Madea one, because that one was that one was a doozy. Yeah, let us know if you feel the same. If you have seen these movies, do you agree that they're bad? Are you that random person out there that actually like replicas? You might be. Let us know.
And this whole list, you gotta think about it. It was comprised of our average together, what we thought for these movies. Are there worser movies that we didn't watch this year? I think so. I'm not gonna lie. There's some I know if I watch, I would say
I think
all would make this list.
I think those top three kind of are there though.
But there will be others in the top 10 that we may have not got a chance to review. Just keep that in mind when you listen to this list.
Yep. And as always, don't forget to hit the notification bell. And also don't forget, you've seen it here.